Let's talk about a very important life lesson right now. I mean, it's taking me longer than I would have wanted it to learn this. I'm 43, but now I fully get this. I think last year, it took me all of last year before it finally clicked. So here we are in the new year. Here it is. You can't make anybody happy. Also, you can't change anyone. You can't make anybody happy, and you can't change anyone. Now, my 30s, I was horrible about that. In my heart, I needed to make people happy, and I needed to change people. And when I first heard about Enneagram, I was like, oh, I'm a 1, that makes sense. But no, for me, I'm actually an 8. And I need this sense of control over everything I can. Of course, as I've gotten older and more mature, I realized, well, most things in life you can't control. So you figure out the things that you can and you control them. But when it really comes down to it, the main thing you can control is yourself. And you can become the best version of yourself. The way you do that is, for me, I had to start researching. I had to be, quote, more vulnerable and understand, what am I not experiencing in life that other people are? And for me, it was a lot of certain emotions, because I was so driven by anger and not really understanding why. But anger ultimately is the perception that things are not right and you need to make them right. And I think for me, it's this existential concept that I can't control the world. Most things are happening without me. So what can I actually have an effect over? And I think I was misguided for past several years of still thinking that I could change people's minds, that I could make people happy. And I think those actually are kind of the same thing, aren't they? If someone's not happy, well, if I change them, I can make them happy, because I'm happy, right? So I can make them happy. Now, this really sealed the deal for me when I realized not everybody wants to be happy, or their version of happiness is different than mine. Because when I think of being happy, I think of joy, and I think of like peace. To me, that's what happiness is. Or even like this concept of doing something exciting and new and adventurous. Okay, all of those things to me are what happy. How can I have fun, feel good, and do it in a way that I feel at peace? To me, that's what being happy is. But that's my definition of happiness. And other people, for them to be happy, they actually need to experience more emotions. They need to experience maybe even some kind of concept of fear. They need to go on a roller coaster. They need to go to an amusement park. Ah! No, not so much me. I don't want to put myself in a situation where like the concept is to be scared. Like what? But for certain people, that would make them happy. So just using an example, like I feel happiness is different things to different people. We have a general concept of what it means, but it can be largely different. So for me, in my definition of happiness, I'm trying to make somebody else happy. I'll actually make them miserable. And a lot of times people actually need space to feel those certain emotions. Maybe certain people need to feel sad or fearful or disgusted or alone before they can ever work through it, before they can have a clear mind and be happy. And so for me, I don't want a lot of time to think about being sad or lonely. I don't want that at all. But certain people need to feel that way for a day or a week or whatever it is. And that's the only way they're going to get through it. And I can't intervene with that other than backing off and giving them that space that they need. And so similarly, as far as trying to change people, I mean, it just sounds so petty and immature when you think about it too. Like, especially trying to change someone's beliefs. I mean, think about how ridiculous it is with politics. Either people are apathetic like me. I mean, for the most part I am. I lean a certain way, but like, I'm not passionate about that. I have my leanings, but it's not part of my identity. But there definitely are people who are absolutely one-sided, and they think that their political party is the way to go, and that the world's going to fall apart if their party is not elected. There are people who think that way. I'm not going to be able to change their mind, but I also have no interest in changing their mind, because I think, how does this affect me? How does it affect me that one person's mind has changed about this one thing, whether it is political or whether it's like how they should, like their diet or whatever, like what they eat? That was horrible about that a decade ago. I was a vegan, and I was one of those who was like very aggressive about it, trying to preach to people and all that. And it's like now I have absolutely a strict way of eating. I have a very consistent workout and all these things. And I just don't talk about it for the most part. Like most part, people have no reason to bring that up. Like if they can't tell that I eat well and I exercise and work out from looking at me, I certainly don't need to be talking about it. So let people believe and do the things that they want to do. And if they're in my life and I positively influence them in some way, maybe they will ask me, well, how do you do this? I'm curious. I want to know. I'm obviously happy to share that with them. But it's not my job to change people. And it's not my job to make people happy. It's my job to be the best version of myself that I can be. And by doing that, by default, that is going to exude from me. And people are going to be happier. They are. If I'm, and it's not just me, it's you, it's everybody, all of us. We focus on how to be the best version of ourselves. We're vulnerable. We figure out, how am I wrong? What things in life am I wrong about? It's not the other person's fault. It's always my fault. Not to be overly critical, but ultimately, if there's a perceived problem that involves other people, well, what could I be doing better so that I can get them in a better situation? And maybe it is giving the other person space to sort out their stuff. But ultimately, I just am not interested in trying to change people. And even now, I would like for people to be happy. I would like to think that I had something to do with people's happiness. But it's definitely not my responsibility. It's definitely not my job. It's only my job that I figure out what it takes for me to be happy inside. And I am, more than ever, someone who is happy, who is at peace. But it's largely because of what I've learned about myself and through this Enneagram thing and realizing it's okay that I'm driven by anger. I just have to convert that to being productive and to serving other people and empowering other people. But I think a lot of people haven't got there yet in life, and they haven't figured that out. So I appreciate you watching this video, and I would love to hear from you in the comment section. Have you gotten to the point where you realize, why am I wasting my time trying to make people happy and change them? And it's funny because when we look at the YouTube comment section, or the comment section of anything, it's pretty much just the worst of human existence. And it's largely people trying to convince themselves of things. No, you're wrong. And I'm at a point now where if I'm wrong, okay, I'm curious then. Teach me more. And I'll often say that in the comments. I'm like, you disagree with me because of this? Okay, well, tell me more about that. Because, hey, I'm not opposed to learning something. Even if someone says, you're wrong and you're an idiot and you're stupid. Okay, well, I'm curious. Teach me more. Because maybe there's something I can learn from someone who has horrible social skills and says that I'm an idiot and I'm wrong. Well, their delivery is horrible, but I might still be able to learn from them. Your comments belong right here.